Hello, everyone. This is our last episode of the Flight of the Phoenix, and Mary Jo and I are getting really excited to take flight and to get
Yes.
everyone um, diving into their stories and finding the golden gems and wisdom inside. Um, we are just tuning into the space and landing and, coming into our Dragon Cove that we've been cultivating for the last, what, 6 weeks now? 7 weeks?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All of you have your special notebooks who are ready to dive into your stories, who are excited to go inward, to go deeper into your heart. Oh my gosh, cute! I love it. I love it. Yeah, I just went to the crystal shop the other day and they have a 3D printer and I ordered a little golden, bronzy golden dragon that's like maybe 6 inches long. He sits on top of my speaker. He's one of the mascots of the
Hmm.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the self discovery process and kind of the fun part. You go through the shadow work, you go through the difficulties, the challenges, being able to face within, what it was like going through what you've went through in your story, but actually finding those gems and, discovering things about yourself that you want to move forward into your next chapter. Um,
Hmm.
that's what this is leading to is the meaning making is to that nourishment.
Yeah.
So I want to tune into that today.
Okay.
The self discovery.
Yeah.
It's been interesting being in this space because throughout the weeks, Mary Jo and I very intentionally create the space. We've been surrounding it by like a ring of fire, and part of that has been the Phoenix energy that's supported us in cultivating this. And we step into it, and week by week, it's like it shifts. And we can
Hmm.
kind of see people kind of poking their heads in, wanting to see what's going on. And we have just like a really sweet people who are ready. Um, so if you've been looking in and you've been wondering, you've been curious, maybe you've stepped in, you've stepped out a few times, like come join us. This is the time and this is the space to remember yourself, to really
Hmm.
go deep into what lights you up, you know. And I think that's what comes through in the self discovery process is like it's like a light bulb moment when those
Hmm.
things just click and then you have like this it's like I like to think of it as like a divine clarity. I almost wit you're sifting through as you're going through your own process and your own story and then all of a sudden like it's like if you give yourself enough spaciousness and enough time to be in that and to use intention in that space too, then all of a sudden it's just like ding, like something lines up.
Hmm. Yeah.
Did you ever hear Joe?
It's a continual journey. And what I want to, sort of talk about a little bit about the self-discovery process is that there is so much wisdom inside of you that all it takes to really tap into it to get that like gem or that golden nugget or is to like just focus inward and really be with what is there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like it doesn't it's a duality again of like putting intention and like effort, but really it's no effort at all. It's
Hmm.
just being there, but then making the intention and I guess the effort to actually sit there and to be held in the space, um, and to go into your heart,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I have a series of noises on my end. I don't know if you can hear them. There's a very cute dog here,
Oh.
and he's drinking a bunch of water. This is the very famous Luca, my sister's dog. He was scratching at the carpet, so we decided to pause the recording and come back on.
He's so
So, before all of the different interfering people and noises came through, Mary Jo, you were really describing um, in your own words what it's like to step into self discovery. So, if you wouldn't mind reiterating that portion a little bit, because we just had too many distractions. So, I want to be able to listen.
okay. What I was saying was that with the process of self-discovery, going inward, inside, and really just being able to be with what's there inside of you. I don't know if we've talked about this in any episode, but the idea that there's like a multiverse inside of you, and there's all sorts of different parts and characters, and um, just there's a wealth of information and knowledge inside of you. And most people don't turn inside because I think that they're afraid of what they're going to find. But when they're able to like face whatever is their, shadow or their fears or whatever it is, they will find that they're actually their allies. And that sometimes the wisdom in self-discovery actually comes from, what you fear most or think is like the worst part of you or the weirdest part of you or this, um, the part that you might not want other people to see. And so that's why you try not to look at it either. But when you take that time to just turn your focus in and really see what's inside of you, then there is just this enormous wealth of wisdom and gifts and gold and support and all sorts of really wonderful things. So it's
Yeah,
and that's what our process of self-discovery is going to be about. It's going to be about taking, what you might be interpreting as negative or something that isn't something you wish had happened, let's say, and really looking at it and mining it for what are those, like what are those discoveries that you can make out of that, what new meaning can you make out of that that's going to actually be empowering and really propel you forward and up.
right, right. I'm just kind of relating what you're sharing to my own experience of that process of going inward and of like facing the fears,
Hmm.
and that it's not always as scary as you think it is,
Yeah, right.
But I
Yeah.
think from like the human mind perspective, like we create all of these different conditions around things, based on like
Mhm.
how we grew up and what was taught and environmental and social influences, because like what are people actually afraid of at the end of the day? There's a fear of death,
Mhm.
there's the fear of like not belonging,
Yes.
of, you know, of being
Hmm.
ostracized.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think, there's a couple systems out there that break down. There's like five or six very common human fears that people have at the end of the day underneath, what it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, the two you just mentioned are really the key ones, which is a fear of death and a fear of ostrac being outcast, basically.
Right.
And I think that, and then because if even that one, if you're outcast, it means your chances of survival go down. And so, so ultimately it all comes down to a fear of death.
Right. And that could be outcast from a group, that could be outcast from a place, being
Hmm.
kicked out of your home, not being able to survive. So it's like it's ingrained kind of in the biology of our being,
Yes.
but then it's like if we can kind of allow ourselves to almost, I feel like it's almost a mind game to like trick your biology to go inward to a certain degree of like kind of melting from the outside in and coming back into the heart space, because it does, on the one hand it takes courage and it takes, intention.
Hmm.
But then once you get there, like you don't know what you're going to find, but like you said, there is infinite wisdom, and there's a multiverse inside of the heart.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, the experience is different than having like a psychic image or a cognitive like
Hmm.
memory of a place. It's like literally I'll go inward, and then all of a sudden like universes open up
Hmm.
from that space, you know? And it's like
Yeah.
a lot of people have experiences like that, when they're in their dream state or in meditative states. Um, and I think it's very possible to do that in a waking conscious state, and particularly in this group in a writing state, in a
Mhm.
contemplative state.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's why we're going to be bringing through the sound and the singing as well,
Right.
um, to
Well,
invite.
I also want to say that, the power of thought and word is also really important. And so being aware of what you're thinking, what you're saying, what words you're using.
Right,
And when you're writing, you can be more intentional about that too. Like if you free write, you can kind of see what is in your consciousness or your subconsciousness, right? And then it's like, look at it and then be like, oh, my intention is to, now that I'm aware, to use different language to describe my situation, my life, my intention going forward.
right, right. And I think there's also a distinction too between like the written word and the spoken word,
Mm.
because as creators, when we speak, we create like
Hmm.
more quickly, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. But it's like when you write, it's like you have this capacity. Sorry, there's someone at the door. That's interesting. It's part of the
Okay.
field. Can you go around, please? Hmm. So I think there's actually a distinction that we want to make between the written word and the spoken word. Because in the process of writing, it's like you can move into the subconscious, into that contemplative space, and do that kind of stream of consciousness writing when you're going through these contemplations. And you can write down things that have been in the back of your mind that have been causing you distress, or like those thoughts that just don't, you know, don't have clarity, or don't have the kind of a full circle of completion within your experience. And so you get to write down those things, and maybe they're things that you're confronting as fears, as you're going through. But having that paper right in front of you is like the safe space, because it's just yours. Nobody else can, has to read it or anything like that. It's just your space. But then it's like when you actually take out and you discern, the meaning making out of that experience, and you want to create and use it vocally through your words, I think it's really the spoken words that are creating our reality. And so being very intentional about that, um, that makes me think, Mary Jo, maybe we can, at the end of our workshop, create kind of an exercise where we go around and really speak into reality the wisdom and the gems that we've discovered throughout the process of writing.
Hmm. That sounds very powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just really excited, you guys.
I'm
um,
excited too. And I just would love anyone who is contemplating joining us to, to join us because it's going to be a really fun exploration. And there's going to be lots of just gems of wisdom uncovered and lots of sharing and community created.
yeah. And I say you guys because it's not just Mary Jo and I here. Like, we are in the space and we can see you guys. Like, everybody's with their notebooks taking notes. It's exciting.
Right. But I also want to say that in the workshop, you can add your voices to this. And so right now, it's just the two of us. But when we come together in our container with you, then your voices get to be added to what we're sharing now, too.
And it's so much more powerful that way, you know, and it amplifies each of us. We have our own unique creative energetic force, you know, or in our own essence and vitality that we bring to the group. So everybody interacting within the space, like we amplify each other. And, you know, there's a lot that happens unconsciously in these alchemical spaces where, you know, somebody else will have a specific frequency band or resonance with their gifts and they'll bring it out in you and vice versa, and you don't even know that these things are happening while they're happening. And like this is the kind of stuff I love kind of analyzing and watching when I'm holding space in groups and watching people going through their process, and it's like, oh wow, I didn't know that, you know, that we could even do this alchemically as creative beings, that somebody has this capacity. So, you know, everybody kind of, you know, we create our own little network, um, or this like pool of frequencies. And so
Yeah.
I think with that very specific intention, of moving through the alchemical process with the dragons here, with the phoenix energy, you know, we're going to be helping each other rise up together, you know, that to fly, you know, in our own phoenix processes. So I want to see each and every person. Mary Jo, let's put out our wings. So if you're ready, put out your wings, and we're going to have you fly with us. So each and every person in this workshop, we're going to invite you to open up your wings and to step out, you know, to reach out and to be courageous. Be courageous through your heart, be courageous through your words, your ability to go inward, your ability to alchemize and to expand and to grow and evolve. So let's evolve together. So, with that, I think you want to close the space, Mary Jo, or we'll just keep
Yes.
it open for now like this.
Well, I'm gonna just say thank you to everyone who is coming in.
Yes, thank you so much. So we'll see you in a week. We're
Yeah,
starting on September 9th, next Tuesday. That'll be from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, you can sign up anytime between now and what, next Monday
and
by midnight?
September 8th, yeah.
September 8th. Yeah. So, and there are some scholarships available. So if you're interested in that, just reach out to one of us and we'll get you connected. So thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.